Hi everybody, I am Jenna Anthony and this is Apple Dolly Creations. Thank you for joining me. I'm pulling it up on the computer so I could see comments. So let me know you're here so I can welcome you. I appreciate you being here. Sometimes this pops up on my computer and sometimes it does not. Okay, well, eventually, maybe. Okay, so what we're making today is a really cute Easter garland. And we're making it out of two things that we have already made. So I will link those two videos. Hi, Tony. I will link those two videos in the comments so you don't have to go searching for them. So what we're doing is this bunny that we made out of the Dollar Tree treat bag is one of the items that we're using. Now, the most expensive thing on this bunny was the styrofoam ball. Now, these carrots, you get 6 in a pack, and Dollar Tree, $1.25. And then these bags are 6 in a bag. And they're all like connected together for $1.25. So the most expensive thing was the styrofoam ball. Now, I used a piece of fleece that I had on this bunny. But you can pick up the car cleaning cloths at Dollar Tree and do the head and the ears and then the arms. So I would pick up 2 of them. So you have under $5 in this whole thing. Now this green and white fringe that's around his the collar is just the top of this bag. What I did was I took the ties out, and there's some stitching that I pulled out, and I clipped some of the fabric, and then I ran my scissors around underneath of this seam here because the fabric is folded over, and then I just started cutting small little strips, and that's how I got this fringe that you see here. Now this pink and white was a circle that I had cut out. Thank you, Tony. I had a circle cut out from something that I was doing at some point in time. So I just fringed all the way around that circle, and I put that on the top. I gathered the whole thing together, and I tied it off with some butcher's twine that I have. And then I just glued the head is on a skewer, and the bag is full of paper. And I just pushed it down, glued it, and now the nose is a button. Now these eyes are actually eyes that I use for my bears, but you can use little buttons or you can use puff paint. You'd get the same effect. The pink cheeks is just a marker that I used. And the mouth, I just made a straight line from the nose down. That's also a marker. And this is just a piece of cheesecloth and some more of the butcher's twine. Very, very cheap to do. Okay? Now the carrot, we made these out of painter's drop cloth. You can use canvas. Now the ones that we made on the last video, I ran out of orange paint, so I took the paint and mixed it with a lot of water and soaked my fabric in it. I still haven't picked up orange paint. So I made these carrots yesterday, and what I did was I took orange and yellow food coloring, put it in water. It took more red than the yellow, and I just kept testing the water as I was putting the food coloring in with a scrap of the painter's cloth to get the orange color that I wanted. Let's see if I can get you a good view of that. But it came out really orange. Then I laid each, because there's 2 pieces of fabric per carrot, and I have 4 here. I laid them out on parchment, on a cookie sheet in a 275 oven, 10 minutes. We had workers here, so I turned the oven off to answer a question of theirs, got busy, forgot about it, but they were in an off oven, so it was okay. When I went back, the painter's cloth had all curled up on itself. And because it was in an oven, it's even stiffer than the painter's cloth originally was. So what I did was, I took my iron. Now, I have a sewing iron, I have a craft iron, and I have a clothing iron out in my sewing room. So this is my craft iron, but I still protect it from whatever I'm doing. I put a piece of aluminum foil over the sole plate, and I pressed out all the carrot pieces. Now what that does, the aluminum foil, makes your iron even hotter, especially if you're using steam, and it will flatten out even the worst thing that you need to iron, because these were all curled up and I couldn't uncurl them. So I used steam with the aluminum foil and the iron, and they straightened right out. So there's a tip if you want to put a really tight crease in something, or you have something that you can't get the wrinkles out of, aluminum foil. You can even put aluminum foil on your ironing surface and cover your iron, and you will get, if you like creases down the center of your pants, you'll get a really, really tight crease. So we're making a garland. Now, my mantle is a small one. I've already made one of these, and my daughter has it. And I will post pictures of it in the comment section, because hers has 3 bunnies and 6 carrots on it. I'm using 1 bunny and 4 carrots. So you just have to determine, because these are 12 inches long. From the top of the head, not counting the ear, the top of the head to the point of the carrot is 12 inches. Now my carrots are 11 inches, and that's not counting the greenery. So you just need to determine how many you need, because my mantle is 41 inches long. Now I decided that my drape, I wanted to drape down, would be 8 to 10 inches. And then we need ties, because we have to attach this. So I'm using this real heavy jute, and I allowed 6 inches on each end for my tie. So this overall is 73 inches long. That's how much jute that I needed. 73 inches of this. I tied off, just folded over 6 inches and looped it and made a tie on each end. Then I put the 2 ties together and found the center. And when I found the center, I tied on another pretty long piece of this. And I'm just going to use it as part of the garland. So, but I needed to know where my center is. I also, in the center, put another piece of this as a hanger. So in the center, I have 2 pieces of this. One for marking and one for the tie. Because here and there on the garland, I did tie a piece of this just to give it another look. What I'm using, besides this, is a set of Christmas tree lights. Now you can get them on Amazon, and I'll put a link. Now this is a 50 light strand. It was too long. So I started on the end opposite the plug. That's where I started. And I started tying on the jute hanger that we made with jute, all the whole length, until I got to the other end where I had my loop. Now my lights were longer than that. So I just folded the lights over, back over on itself, and I tied those on too. Now the fabric that I'm using is just strips of fabric that I have a bin under my cutting table. And when I cut whatever I'm making, I always get strips of fabric, and I throw all the strips in that bin. So I took out 6 gigantic hands full of whatever color I grabbed. So I have all kinds in here. Now, some of these strips are longer, some are wider. See, this is a long one. This is a real narrow one. Some of them are shorter. See, it didn't matter. I did not go through these and cut these all the same length. I'm using them however they are in here. Now, one of them was like super long. I did trim that one down. But these are from 10 inches up to about 5 inches, I would say. And they are 1/8 of an inch up to like a 1/2 inch. I wouldn't go wider than a 1/2 inch. If you're going to cut fabric for this and you cut all your strips a 1/2 inch, it's not going to take you very many strips to do. But since I'm using all widths, and some of them are even smaller than that, it's going to take me more. See how narrow that one is? So I didn't go through and make sure that I had all the same. You can use ribbon on this instead of fabric. You can pick up a couple yards of fabric and just rip it. We've done that many times on here. But I did most of this except for the last few inches. And I'll show you 2 different ways that you can put these strips on here, whether you're using ribbon. I added in some ribbon strips that I had. I also added in some of this butcher twine. Now, this butcher twine I did, a while back. It was white. And I was doing something with yellow water. It's water that I added paint to. So I took a whole bunch of this white butcher twine, put it in that bucket, and let it sit. When I took it out, I wrapped it around a child's ball and just let it dry. So that's what, it's like a goldish yellow. And then I just wound it on this spool, just to give me another color of something to use besides always using jute. Now, instead of jute, you can use a heavy ribbon. You can use fabric. You can use macrame twine. I mean, it's endless. You can even just tie it directly onto the wire of your lights if you wanted. But you have to put something on each end and in the middle as a hanger. So every time I make these, I always use something to tie everything to, the lights and the fabric or the ribbon, just besides the wire. I don't know why, because you have to tear it all apart if your lights don't work. But these lights was a 50 strand. Now my daughter's, I used 100 strand lights, and I had to fold back some of her lights too, but she has a large stone fireplace, so hers is a lot longer, a lot bigger than what we're making today, because I think she has 3 bunnies and 6 carrots on hers, but I'm using 1 bunny, and this bunny I'm putting directly in the middle. Now on the back, I put a piece of this colored butcher twine, tied it, found the center, tied a knot, and glued it on the back. And then I took a piece of my fabric and cut a square and glued that over top of the knot, just so you don't see the knot. If this would get turned around, you don't see that knot. You see just it's more of the bunny head. So those are ideas, but I think these turned out absolutely adorable. And I'm trying to come up with some more ideas for these things. So I left this last few inches. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways you can do this. If you cut your strips long, you have to fold over your fabric, and you can just loop it around and pull it back through the loop. Now that's one way you can do these. Just pull it tight. That's one way. The way I did these, because I have all different lengths, all different widths, is I just tied it on. Just tied it on. Now when I get done, I am going to shake this, but didn't that turn out pretty? And then when it's lit up on the mantle with the bunny and the carrots, it's going to be adorable. So I'm not really paying attention to what fabric I'm pulling out, because I know some on here, I have two of the fabrics side by side. I'm okay with that. I'm just reaching in and pulling it out. So this is one nice thing that you can do while you're watching TV. If you're waiting for your child at, whatever event they're at, you can stick this in a bag, pull part of it out, and just start tying everything on. Let me mix these up some. So this is something that you can do if you don't want to read. You can do this while you're waiting on your child in a doctor's office, just while you're watching TV. You can do this. I do a lot of crafting while Tony and I are watching TV. So I'm just tying it on, and I'm pushing them tightly together. Now on some of these where the light is, some of them I tied around the light just to make sure that the wire on the light was covered. So push these all together. And I'm pushing them pretty tight. So here's a wide long strip. On something like this, everything doesn't have to be the same width or length. But you can do these with any holiday. This would be cute to do and put gnomes on it for St. Patrick's Day. Every holiday. You can do red and green for Christmas, if that's your Christmas colors. Now I'm pulling my ends really tight after I bunch these all up together. I'm pulling that even tighter. Some of these strips of fabric, I've had for quite a while, because actually I can tell you some of the fabric, what I've made with them. Why I remember that, I don't know. Now, if you're interested in purchasing any of these, let me know. Let me know your length, and we'll talk about it. Also, I have the Telegram app. If you are interested in getting a notification. Hi, Herman. How you doing, buddy? If you're interested in getting a notification, when I decide what time I'm going live, I will post what time I'm going live, and you'll get a notification of that. 30 minutes to a half hour, 45 minutes before I go live, I send out another notification. Now here's a really small one. You don't have to give the app any of your information. You just sign up. There's a link at the top of my page. Click on that. And that's all you have to do. Just download the app to your phone. It's not one of those apps that you have to give your whole life history to. It's just for me to let you know when I'm going live. Also, if you could like and share, comment. Now, they have made a change on comments. If your comment is not more than 3 words, it does not count for the creator. So if you give me a comment nice or pretty, I get penalized for that, actually. So if you say that's really nice or that's really pretty, I get credit for that. And what that does is fixes my algorithm so that Facebook will promote me. Because one word comments, they will not promote me. Who knows why? So I get a lot of scolding from this. It's crazy. So all the things that I'm not having you do right, I get scolded about. So there we go. So we're at the end and we have this whole thing done. So in the middle here, like I said, I have a loop. So I know this is where my bunny is going to go. So I will link all of these things that we're using because we've already made this bunny and carrots. So I'm just going to take my ties on the back, right where this loop is, and we'll separate the fabric, and I'm just going to tie it on. Now my strips are little, my hangers are longer. I don't want them like really butted really tight. I want them to hang a little bit off the garland. So my ties are probably 10 inches long, and I'm tying it really tight. So from here, so this is my center, and I have 4 carrots. So I'm going to take my end and fold it to the center, and there's my center right there. So I know I need a carrot between the bunny is my center, and here's a quarter. What I do is just folded it in quarters. So I need a carrot on the end and a carrot here, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm just separating the fabric to tie these on. Now the carrots are going to be tied a little closer to the garland than the bunny. Now these ties, instead of cutting them off, what we could do is untwist them. Hi Kim, thank you. Untwist them and then just pull the strings apart. And that gives you like a nice fringe look. So now I need to do a carrot on this end. Now even these carrots, you can make them out of any fabric. I just happen to have painter's drop cloth. You can use canvas, you can use muslin. And beyond, I mean, a whole bunch of these didn't cost me maybe $3. So I try to keep everything as cheap as I can. But you can make some really cute things for practically nothing. So I'm tying this one on tighter because it is at the end. And I do have a piece of the jute tied here where I started the lights on. And it's fringed, so I'm just going to fringe this one also. And all you do is just pull the different strings apart. Now, when I do bunnies, sometimes, I think on this one, I used the white butcher twine. And this is how I do whiskers. It's just butcher twine. And thank you, Tony. And I just pull the strands apart because you get this really fringy look, and it makes perfect whiskers. So see what I mean? When you pull all these apart, you get this fringy look. They make perfect whiskers. So there's 2 carrots on there. So we're going to tie one on this end. And I'm just pulling the fabric apart just so it doesn't get caught in the tie. That's the only reason I'm doing that. Now I did not measure out this butcher twine. I just started cutting some pieces. There is nothing about this that has to be exact, except for the length that you need. And we'll go over those measurements again. You need 6 inch on each side to make your ties. I have a 10-inch drop, a drape on, I have 2 of them. So my mantle's 41 inches wide, and this ended up being 73 inches long because of that drape. So you just need to figure out, measure your mantle, add 12 inches for your ties, and 20 inches for your drape. And that's how long you need to do this. Now, like I said, the one I made my daughter, because her and I traded some stuff for decorations. So I made her decorations, and she gave me some stuff. So her lights was 100 strand, and I think her mantle's 7 foot. So and even on the 100 strand of lights, I still had to fold over some of the lights back on itself. But that's okay. It just gives more lights. But this is a 50 strand that I use for my mantle. Now, somebody asked me what I do with all the stuff that I make. It's all for sale. Like when at Christmas time I made the Santa hats, the moment I posted them, somebody said, I want them both. So, because we made 2 on that live. And it's all for sale. So there we go. There's our bunny. There's the carrots. Now let me plug this in, and I'll show you it lit. I'll also post a picture of it hanging. And I'll post my daughter's also, because hers is a lot longer. See, can you see the lights? They're not showing up on here, are they? Right there's one. Now these lights is a strand of lights that I did when we did our silicone bulbs. I had a little bit of silicone left, and I coated the lights on here. So otherwise these were clear lights. They're clear lights that I did on my daughters. So what do you think? Isn't it cute? I think it turned out adorable. Tony took Heather's to hers yesterday, and she didn't see it till last night when she got home from work, and she just fell in love with it. But I think it turned out so cute, and all the different colors of fabric. Mostly Easter is pastel. So you don't have a fabric stash like I do. You don't have a whole tote of these. But you can just buy like 2 yards of fabric of 2 different colors, or do a 1/4 yard of 4 different fabrics. And you can get fabric pretty cheap. So if you're desperate, send me a message. I can send you a whole bunch of these. So I have sold my strips of fabric to people before. So I really appreciate you joining me. I really love this. Hi, Nancy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Join my Telegram. The link is at the top of the page. Just click on it. It'll take you right to me, and you just join it. All you need is your phone number. The only thing that they do with that is it's associated with me or whoever else that you're following on Telegram. But you'll get a notification in the morning what time I'm going live, and 30 to 45 minutes ahead of time, I will send out another notification just to give you a heads up. And because I know we all get busy, and it's like, oh, I've wanted to do that and I forgot about it. But the bunnies was a live we made just the other night. And one day last week we did the carrots, and now we did something else with the bunny and the carrots. So I will post a picture of this hanging on my mantle, and I'll post a picture of Heather's because hers is all really long. But thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Come back Monday, Wednesday, Friday is when I do my lives. And I'm trying to get a good time for everybody, which I'm not hitting a time that's good for everybody. And let me know if it's later in the night. If 8 o'clock at night is better for you, let me know, because it don't matter to me. First thing in the morning, it doesn't matter to me. So I'm at the sewing machine behind me, or the one on each side of me, 4 to 6 hours a day. So it don't matter. I'm in this room. I can stop and do a live at any point. I have a million ideas up here I need to get pulled out. So thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. Have a great evening.